folks, today we're going to install a classic Sherpa rack and an Old Man Mountain fit kit on the front of a gravel or road bike. You're going to need 4 and 6 millimeter hex wrenches, a 10 millimeter box end wrench, a torque wrench with a 4 and 6 millimeter hex key, a set of pliers, and also a set of cable cutters. Remove your stock axle from your bike and compare it with the Robert Axle Project through axle from your fit kit. Make sure the shaft lengths match. Check that the thread pitch is the same by lining up the threads from both axles, making sure they engage. Apply grease to the shaft and threads of the new axle, then insert it into your fork, tightening with your hand. Grab your torque wrench with a 6 millimeter hex key, set to 10 Newton meters, and tighten your axle. Set the rack upside down with the reflector hole facing away from you on the table. Determine dropout number 1 versus dropout number 2 using the image on your instructions. Grab dropout 1 and identify the pannier hook and standoff. Place dropout number 1 on the inside of the left side of the rack frame. The pannier hook points away from the reflector hole and the standoff faces inward. Use hardware kit D with the bolts pointing in toward the center of the rack and tighten firmly. Repeat with dropout number 2, but leave the hardware slightly loose. Make sure the dropouts are parallel. Make any adjustments as needed and tighten dropout number 2 firmly. Place the rack over the axle on your bike. The axle ends will nest into the dropout. Make sure the rack is close to level. Use hardware kit F to attach the rack to the axle. Snug the hardware up to hold the rack in place while we complete the next steps. Position the extender with the slot facing the rack and the hole toward the bike frame. Use hardware kit E to attach the extenders to the inside of the rack frame. Snug up the hardware, but do not torque them yet. Attach the pucks to the extender with the brass insert facing away from the extender. Use hardware kit F to fasten the pucks to the extenders. Locate where the pucks are going to attach to your fork. Measure and cut the tape to avoid overlapping. Clean the area with alcohol, then apply the tape, smoothing out any bubbles. Using the supplied zip ties, fasten the pucks to your fork. Now use your pliers to pull the zip ties tight. Trim off the excess. Now with the bike on level ground, we can make any adjustments to the rack to make sure that it's level. By just hitting the rack forward or backwards, the adjustments being done at the extender, we can bring it to level. That looks pretty good to me. Now we can do our final hardware check. Grab your torque wrench, set to 3 Newton meters, and tighten all the M5 hardware. That's going to be your puck hardware and your axle hardware. Then set your torque wrench to 6 Newton meters and tighten all your M6 hardware, which is your extender and your dropout to rack hardware, using your 10 millimeter open end wrench to hold the nuts on the back side. Repeat on the other side. Now that you've got your Old Man Mountain rack mounted on the front of your road or gravel bike, it's time to get out and do some adventuring. Just remember to check all the hardware before every ride.